But within our team, which is really cool that I don't think the industry offers, the questions are almost geared as to what are their passions. You're one of the principals of F13, which we talk about all the time, F13 Consulting. And so your perspective is really interesting. They just kind of float around. They don't have anything defined. They don't have a defined belief system or set of value propositions. So they just find a loan assistant or a sales assistant and they say, come on over and I'll give you tasks to do. And we see that while they have great talent, those individuals are not maximizing those talents because they're just doing tasks. They're doing multiple tasks. The team structure that we have is something that is very unique in our industry.
Matt Weaver, the #1 mortgage originator in the United States for most loans closed in 2023 and #1 in the state of Florida from 2020 to present, has spent over 27 years mastering the purchase market, earning more than 16 #1 titles across his career. Max Fisch, 2024's #1 originator in the United States under 30 and #2 in the state of Florida, achieved those titles within just 5 years of entering the mortgage industry, compressing decades of growth into a few extraordinary years. Collectively, they've helped more than 40,000 families purchase their first home. Now partners and looking to improve the industry on a national scale, Matt and Max share their winning formula, team structure and systems with originators who want to scale from elite to extraordinary levels.
Avi Mizrahi, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today.
Max Fisch, always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, listen, we're going to have some exciting conversation today. I already know it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines.
You want people to stay on? Does that?
Yes. I'm just kidding. But I am excited because we typically have Matt on, and Matt and I talk about a lot of mindset stuff. And we just go through a lot of different strategies and different ways that we can shift our thinking and so on and so forth. But what's so cool every time I talk to you is that you have an interesting perspective because you've been partnered with Matt for, almost since the beginning of the Matt Weaver team. Is that correct?
Yeah, close to 15 years.
Yeah. So
Ironically, I was actually team member number 13.
Team member number 13.
No such thing as coincidence.
That's great. That's great. And so you've seen everything over the years. You've helped build this team. You're one of the principals of F13, which we talk about all the time, F13 Consulting. And so your perspective is really interesting. And so I love to discuss these types of things with you because you were a part of almost all of it. Different waves in the real estate industry and how cyclical it is, building process and team flow and structure. So I think the first thing that I want to ask you is, how have you built this team within the culture that you and Matt wanted to build over the years? Where did that start? Like, how did you know where to find these individuals, how to help raise these individuals within the culture that you all wanted to create and set through our team structure?
Well, it's a great question. It really starts with the team leader. Yeah. It starts at the top. In any great team, any great organization, the most successful begin with the team leader and the belief system and the standards that they have. And so one of the things that attracted me so much to what Matt was building. So I was running a mortgage operation at the company we were with as he was building out his specialized team to grow his transactions and scale. He just was so strong in his beliefs. And he knew who his customer was, the agent. He knew what his beliefs were, that they deserved better, and that he had just a singular focus that everything that he would do, every process, every value proposition was centered around his customer. And I was so amazed by that because many originators, they just kind of float around. They don't have anything defined. They don't have a defined belief system or set of value propositions. So they just find a loan assistant or a sales assistant and they say, come on over and I'll give you tasks to do. Mm-hmm. And what was so different about Matt and what we grew so much in our team is we actually had a set of beliefs. And so when it starts there, now you stand for something. It becomes much bigger than a role or a task. It's a mission.
Sure.
It's a mission. And that's what's been so, I'd say, what the key ingredients of our success, what goes into the formula, is that we've had the honor and the good fortune of working with missionaries, not mercenaries. Here. It's a term we use all the time. missionaries versus mercenaries. You see, a mercenary is someone who's, in essence, they're hired for work. They're there for a job. They're there for a paycheck. They're there for income. That's what they're there for. That's their purpose of being. But a missionary is there for the cause. They're there for the mission. They're there for the journey. And so when you look at how we developed our team, we always had a knack for finding people who wanted to buy into the mission. And we believed in it. So it always starts with the leader. Oh, and the leader has a belief system and standards. With Matt, it was first off his 4 pillars of value, which wrap the Asian sales cycle, which we talk about all the time. And then internally, it was the standards that he set for himself and that we share with our team. So when you have that to start with, then you're not necessarily looking for positions, you're looking for human beings. And that's, I think, where a lot of people differentiate where their mission is. So for example, they'll look for a role instead of looking for the right human. And so that's always the starting point that worked for us. You see, the benefit of having a team structure and the benefit of having defined lanes is that depending on what someone's passions are, they can actually assimilate, they can find passion, they can buy into a specific role. And that's what's made it so much easier for us to grow the team. Not that it's simple to find great humans, but when we find the right human and now they have a defined team structure, they can immediately gravitate to something. And a lot of originators don't have that, which is why it's a lot harder for them to really grow in their process. So I would say that's step one, is have a set of belief system and then know who you're looking for. Know the kind of people you're looking for.
Yeah. So, I mean, in essence, the culture was created from the beginning, that it was a customer first culture always. And what's interesting is what I find a lot of times in our industry is that we don't view it that way. Originators view it as, this is how I do things. This is my way or the highway. And having that customer based culture, you attract people that have similar mindset, I would assume. And here's the analogy that I use, or that I was thinking about as you were talking. We always go back to the NBA. We're big NBA people. So we talk about the team structure and we talk about players on the court and we talk about how LeBron is the greatest of all time. And
Well, can we just stop there?
I was gonna go right. I'll cover past that. But when we look at the NBA, I see this all the time. You find that although there might be some down seasons, you find that the organizations that have the highest level of a winning culture, they find players that buy into that
100%.
And so it's interesting. I think of, the Miami Heat are one of them. And I'm not just saying that because we're from South Florida, but the Miami Heat are one of them, the San Antonio Spurs. And there's these organizations that create this team structure, this culture that bring players in that they buy into it. There's no other option because they've proven that it's a winning formula. And so I've seen that you've been a big part of that here, which is really cool. And I want to dive into finding the right human beings, okay, and kind of the psychology behind that, because I know that for the team, you are the primary interviewer of new people coming into the team. And what I've seen in my past in building teams, and as we're doing this together now, is you want to ask a lot of questions about what their desires are. But within our team, which is really cool that I don't think the industry offers, the questions are almost geared as to what are their passions,
right?
And because we have those lanes, I'm sure that the interview process is really diving into what somebody's passion is to figure out what role and what spot and what position on the court they'll play for the team, I'm assuming.
Exactly. And then that's why it goes back to first defining what the lanes are.
Sure.
Having a defined structure. We've worked with so many great originators through our F13 program. And we see that while they have great talent, those individuals are not maximizing those talents because they're just doing tasks. And they're doing multiple tasks. And we've always taken such a different approach within building our own team structure here at the Matt Weaver team, where we actually define the lanes. Then we meet the human and we understand when they wake up every day, what do they really enjoy doing and why? You see, we get to the heart of the human. We don't look at a resume. We don't look at income goals. Those all follow. when someone is actually reaching their self-actualization. I think you've talked about it in the past, because they're doing what they love every single day. And so what we first do is get to know the human. We ask them what their interests are, what their passions are, what drives them. We get to know so much outside of the mortgage industry. Are they competitive people? Are they analytical people? To really understand what drives the human being. And then as we share the team structure, you can see their eyes light up when they hear a certain role. Whether it be someone who is working with home buyers all day long, because that's what they truly love to do. Or some of the analytical freaks out there that they just love making a transaction work.
Yes.
Right? They're the guideline junkies that we talk about. Yeah. They love to figure out the Rubik's Cube. Where's the Rubik's Cube? Oh, it is. Okay. But when their eyes light up and they learn about a specific lane, now you can see, okay, I think we're onto something.
Yeah.
And when you can put people in those situations, when you could put them in those roles, you're going to get the most out of them, and they're going to be the most fulfilled.
Yep.
Then they're going to be able to buy into the vision. It's funny, the most common phrase we've heard as we've been speaking to people for years, after we go through our team structure and the lanes within it, you know what the most common statement we hear is? Wow, I never knew anything like this ever even existed.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's because most originators, if they're trying to grow or scale themselves, they'll just hire an assistant unless they do X, Y, Z, so I don't have to. Yeah. And our structure has been so different. And that's what we try to share with the wonderful originators that we consult and mentor.
Yeah.
Is that you truly want to understand the lane and be very disciplined to that. You see, if you remain disciplined to a singleness of purpose, and you can allow your team members to stay disciplined, they can remain in that state of flow. They can be their best, and that's when you get the most out of them. And that's when the culture just gets moving in the right direction.
Yep. And one thing that blows me away that I've learned from you is, so just to take it back, when we first joined and partnered together, I remember being blown away by the retention of this name. And it's just incredible to me, because in this industry, in my short time in the industry prior, I just felt like it was normal that the originators, the average lifespan, I guess, at one company was very short. It was very normal for people to jump around all of the time in this business. But then I remember you shared with me something, 90+% retention. You have people that have been with you all from, I don't know, 10 plus years ago.
Well, close to 15 years.
Which is great, because that pretty much debunks the myth that, okay, at different stages of your life, you need to look for different opportunities, because people that have been together for 10, 15 years, especially in critical years of their life, it shows that it kind of doesn't matter if you're 25 years old, if you're 35, if you're 45, if you're 55, as long as you're, to your point, as long as you're staying in your lane, your singleness of purpose, and reaching self-actualization, that's a recipe for long-standing culture, long-standing tenure within a team. And I just think that's really cool. Wow. Now, lastly, one thing I did want to mention with you, and I wanted to ask you your opinion on, is when you talk about people's passion and their singleness of purpose, how have you over the years helped people realize, maybe people that have never thought about it, well, what is my passion? Maybe they try something and you realize soon after that they need to be in a different position. How have you helped identify that, really help people come to the idea and the conclusion that, okay, this is where I actually should be so that I can reach my highest and best? I'm sure that takes some coaching there.
Well, it's happened multiple times. And it's funny because sometimes it happens and someone realizes that there's actually a better opportunity for them, meaning they could be doing something to an even greater level. Yeah. And then there's situations where we may think a person may be even better at another role. So in our mind, and as leaders, as team leaders, people may think their skill set is X, so they should be doing X.
Yeah.
When in fact, and you speak to the person, you find out that's not the case. And so we actually will sit down with our team members regularly, and we'll always ask them, how are you doing your role? Are you fulfilled? Are you getting the most out of what you're doing every day? Do you think you could be doing something even differently? we've opened up the conversation with people to say, we have this new opening. We wanted to see what your thoughts were on it. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel presenting in front of groups? This is someone that was an advisor for us on our team, right? So they're working with home buyers all day long, having home buyer consultations, taking applications, et cetera, because they were very well spoken, well put together. We knew they can present themselves because they did it so well with our home buyers. And so we said, we're looking to grow our rainmakers. We're looking to grow our events of people that can get out and speak. You'd be great at it. What do you think? And they said, well, yeah, I really enjoy speaking. I enjoy being in front of people. I know I could do it well. And they said, oh, would I still be able to work with home buyers? And we said, well, the benefit of our system is that everyone has a singleness of purpose. And so if you wanted to be a rainmaker, if you wanted to go out in front of agents and work on those relationships, to be absolutely great at that, it'd be hard to do both. And they said, well, you know what? I know I could do it, but my passion is the home buyer. We said, great. You know your passion. You know exactly where you want to be. And guess what? They're still doing it today, years later. They love what they do. They knew that if that passion changed, they can move into something else, but they feel fulfilled that it was available, but they're doing the part that they love.
Yep.
You see, most people will find the role for someone and just give it to them.
Yeah.
And what's worked for us is we actually let the team member decide. We let them talk it out themselves, but that only comes if you actually bring it up to them.
So unique.
It's important. We share that with our members of F13. We tell them, when was the last time you spoke to your team about what they're doing, about the role that they're in, how fulfilled they are? Because it's a constant process that has to happen. People grow, their desires change, their lifestyle changes, whatever the case is. And so it's a constant conversation that needs to happen. But when it does, and the team knows that, you know what, if I'm reaching what I believe is my peak in my role today, I know there's other opportunities within the team structure that I can grow into. We had a loan processor who was great at what she did, knew guidelines, was very creative, but she just knew she had a higher calling. And so she asked us, what can I do more on the team? I'd love to be more involved in structuring loans together. We said, great, there's a spot in our lab. You could actually structure and create loans and create pre-approval scenarios all day long if that's what your passion is. She's done it for over 4 years now, and she hasn't been happier.
It's incredible. It really, I can say this confidently because I've seen a lot. There's really not a team structure like that. Outside of the great people that you consult in F13 consulting, the team structure that we have is something that is very unique in our industry. And I think it's so cool. It's such a cool outlet for originators we talk a lot about how you find yourself in this cycle and you can't get out of it. You're in this sludge. And to know that there's a consulting company that helps develop this culture and this mindset and these processes, but also there's a team structure that's plug and play is just, to me, it's just game changing. So it's really cool to hear about the origin of it, how that started, customer based. So there's a lot of cool takeaways. So I just encourage originators to understand that there are ways that they can feel this as well. There are ways that they could flat out win. They can flat out win, right? And so I think it's so cool. I think that's definitely something that we want to continue to put out there and continue to make originators aware of because it's truly life changing, like it's been in my life. So
Max, it's a pleasure. I enjoy flat out winning. Every now and then it gets a little raw.
thanks, Avi.
Thank you.